All right, everybody, we're back on the project here, and today's kind of goal, I guess you could say, is I'm gonna get the engine transmission separated. I'm gonna stick the engine back in the car. I don't need to fight with the transmission, so I'm just gonna take it off and put the engine in, and I'm gonna start working on the cold air setup and modifying this upper radiator core support cover. I want to make some changes here on the ends and kind of dress it up, get the radiator sitting where it needs to be, and finalizing that radiator cap opening. So I need to get the engine in, and I'll show the cold air little intake kit that I got. It's an El Cheapo, but it will work just fine. So I'm going to be totally fine with it. And we can move right along. And this is going to take a pretty good bit of the day, pretty sure, because I'm kind of starting from scratch. I'm going to use the middle part, but the rest is going to be modified pretty heavily. So just changing up a little bit, and this I'm not too happy with this part here, so I want to make it just dive in to this part of the fender well on both sides and just kind of end there. I think it'll look a little better. If, in my mind it does, at least, but we'll see. We'll go from there. I'm gonna get this engine apart and get to work. All right, so we got the El Cheapo cold air kit for the 5.3 motor, and it's Fit 60 5348. They're all the same. Comes with some brackets. Now this is for a Tahoe or a Silverado, so some of the stuff I won't even use. I know these brackets. I'm not going to use them, so we'll just put them over to the side. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to put them back in the box just for now. But some good, decent metal that I could use. Clamps, weather strip that goes to the brackets there. They got a tube for the intake. Tube, elbow for the throttle body, and a big old filter. It's quite big, actually. It's pretty good sized filter, but yeah, whatever. The main pieces that I was looking for are the adapters in this tube. You can buy a filter that'll adapt to that. Clamps, not really a big deal, but it's nice to have. So I know it's going to be cut up probably and modified because this is kind of what I'm looking at here. Um, I want the filter to be under the fender liner there, the fender well, so it'll be hidden away. But I also want this tube to be hidden decently. I mean, I know it's got a clear. I need to put the fans in so I can figure out what room I have, and then shit's gonna get tight real quick. So let's do that, and we'll back up here and get some more assembly going. All right, let's get this radiator fans in here and see what kind of room we really have. And these are off of the Chrysler 300 that had the Hemi in it. I found it in the scrapyard, all places. So they should move some air. Have a little bit of modifications to do to the fan shroud itself, but you know, it is what it is. Ooh, things just got very cramped very quickly. Okay. I mean, like, there's nowhere to go with it. I can't go right there. The air conditioning pump's going to go there. All right, let's see. This guy fits that. Man, that right into the alternator there. Bam. Houston, we have a problem. So, as you can see, I put the 90 on there, and it's right into the alternator and into the pulley. So, now what? Let's see. Well, it just gets better and better, doesn't it? Hmm. Well, I think I'm going to take a second to think about how this is going to work, and we'll be back. All right, so right now my plan of attack is to try to buy some real estate in here by trying to get, I'm going to try to close this gap up first. So I'm going to need a notch around this a little bit more. Same on this side. And try to get, so this side's already touching, so I'm going to have trouble with that. But I've still got a little room down in here, just a little bit, that I could bring this to up against the radiator there where there's a gap. It's hard to see, but there's a little bit of a gap there. I can try to buy that up a little bit. So I'm going to trim this. Trying to draw as straight as line as I possibly can. I'm going to sneak up on it. I don't want to take way more than I need to. I need something. I mean, everything's going to have to be modified. I was even looking at modifying these fins that hold the actual motor in place, the cooling fan motor. Possibility. So I'll mark this up, pull it back out, and figure out, once I trim it, put it back in, reassembly, you know, all the cool stuff. You got to take it apart, put it back together, take it apart, put it back together a million times. So it happens. Just once you, I was thinking about trimming all down this side here, and basically there's a little notch there. I'll get rid of that, make it all flat, kind of suck up to the radiator a little bit more. They've got a gap. I don't want it to rest on the core of the radiator, but it's going to be pretty dang close. It's touching right here, and the top part is what I really need to adjust. Let's see what we can do. It's really just around these brackets that I've made. So let's start with that and go from there. So I'm gonna come over here and just trim this off, make it one plane, hopefully. All right, let's give that a shot, and I'll stop leaning on this radiator before I punch a hole in it. Last thing I want to do is have to buy another radiator. that's not buying me anything over there, so I'm not too concerned with that yet. It did pull it down and close this gap up quite a bit. Still, quarter of an inch maybe, but they add up. So let's stick it back in there and let's see what we can come up with. Yeah. All right, let's try it again. I can already see a little bit of improvement. This guy was hitting, so that's something. It still is right all over that alternator. So I have to modify this tube so this will fit and line up. I'm gonna have to collapse it down to nothing though. It's not a lot of airflow, so I don't know if I want to do that or not. If I come right up over it, I still have to collapse the corner here. Put this straight in there just so I can see where it's going to go. So, yeah, that's just not happy right there. If the fans were, they're like this arrangement now. If they were this arrangement, I got all kind of real estate in front of this air conditioning. I don't have the AC pump, so I'm not 100% sure where stuff's going to land. So I hate to build a cold air kit. I mean, I can probably eyeball where the pulley will land, but I know I've got a little bit more than that, and that's still going to need to be modified to go around it. I wonder if I've got, so then I couldn't go straight because I've got the radiator hose here, so I'd have to go down, and then I've got another radiator hose down there. So, and I'd still have to dimple the tube. Got snug very quickly, didn't it? I wanted to be a pull air from underneath the car so I can get out of this hot engine compartment. It's pretty tight. So, pretty tight in here. So, performance for the engine, it would love to suck cold air rather than hot air. I wonder. See, that's AC pump. So, there's no way to go right there. I knew it was going to be tight, but great day. There's nowhere to go. If I go here and go between the two radiator hoses, that might work. I've got some ribs here I can get rid of and not affect the fan blades. If I aim for right in there, still got room for the hose. The coolant hose, which has got to go right there. I wonder if I can find a 90 for that. Come up. I really think that's it's not going to work here. It's just not. So let me go for this side. I'm going to pull this radiator back out. And let's try again. reassemble. I'm wondering if I need to get rid of this. I didn't pay any attention to that. We'll take it back apart if we have to, I guess. All right, try number, I lost count. Whatever. All right, so let's see. I don't have a way of getting it down in there, but that's kind of where I'm thinking. This is clearing-ish, that pulley there, but that's the face, that's the pulley of the on the AC pump. So obviously you got a little bit of more room there for the clutch. So if I divot that wherever I need it, that will line up. But then I've got to deal with the radiator hose. It's no longer going to have anywhere to go. If I did a 90 on it up, there and there, that would work. But I don't know. I'm sure I could find a 90 for that. But what to do? Well, that's good, I guess. Headed in the right direction. I'm not so sure about where to put that ginormous hole that I really want to cut one time and be sure it's in the right spot. The last thing I want to do is cut that hole in the wrong damn spot. All right, so I've got sort of kind of a plan formulated in my head. I ran this laser off the throttle body and pointed down to the inner fender liner there. I've got all this plastic trimmed away from the cooling fans. And I think if I get it mounted, I can take this and smash it to like more of an oval shape right through there where the AC pump's going to go. And we'll go ahead and cut this bracket off because it's just in my way. And first modification, so about to void the warranty. But I think in my head, at least, I can make this tube work. I've got some other couplers and a bunch of stuff I've collected over the years, throttle bodies and elbows and things of that nature. That'll help me kind of sort of eyeball where this is going to go. Obviously, this will be the bottom part, the 90, or that's more like 45. But that'll go down through there and like that, so that it'll come in and then go that way and not point towards the ground. Just get it up as high as I can away from the tire. I'll probably put a shield around it anyway just to keep debris off of it, but something along that lines. And like I said, I can hammer that area. It's going to go in a lot more into that fender, more probably in line with the straight, and because I've got that much to go down to the top there, go that way. So it'll probably end up being a little lower. Just don't know exactly where to cut the fender, and I'd really love to make that a one-time cut. So if I do the laser, obviously it's going to flash because it's not level. But if I do the laser, it lands in there somewhere. But I think that is probably my spot. As far as the hole goes, it'll obviously have to come to me quite a bit. But I think I'm going to mark that. And because if I go down further, I think that's right about there. It's probably good. I'm going to mark that, and I'm going to cross our fingers. Alright, so I went out to the side of the car here with a hole saw. I did a 4-inch hole saw because I didn't want to go too big. And then had a little insight and rearranged the pipe this way and that way. And I think that'll work. I still need to trim the top because now the hole is not going in perfectly straight. It's kind of going at an angle, so the hole needs to be oval a little bit. So I'm just going at it with a file. Went ahead and sawed it open a little bit, and I'm just going to clean up my mess I made. sealed up too bad yet, or I may need to re-weld it, but just need to take it easy, nice and slow, and I won't have to backtrack too hard. So I'm going to come in here and trim out where I've got it lined up, trim where I've got it lined out, whatever you want to call it, and kind of get this whole oval. Like that. Too much. The saw is kicking my butt. I'm not the biggest fan of these little buzz saws, but it's about the only thing I can think of that'll do the job and get it pretty close to where I can hit it with the dry grinding bit. It's really loud, so I'm going to commence the sawing. Alright, let's set the radiator back in place and the cooling fan and find out if the tube will work the way I got it. Oh, and the rubber pieces came off the bottom there. Let's see what we got here, see if I've cut this in the right spot. Need to go down a lot. It's going to hit the radiator hose already. There's the cold air right there. Well, the other thing I got to worry about is where I put the not throttle body, but the airflow meter. Got to go like that. I wanted to hide it. Obviously, I'm putting a cover over this so I can hide whatever I want, but I want to put it to where I can get to it. So maybe mount it upside down. You have to do it like that. All that'll be down and hidden so you can save your round. Not a big deal, so nothing required about that, it's just my preference. Landing right here where the radiator hose needs to go though, so I still need to go down. And we got room to do it, so it's still okay. It's not a gaping hole. It's not that big a deal. I'm going to cut it down a little bit more on the bottom edge there. So unfortunately, I got to use that damn saw again. So, come down. Do it like that. I'm trying to bring the hole forward a touch. But I also don't want to get it too far out of shape that it looks like a weird egg or something. But we're going to cut that out. I think that'll be pretty darn close. Piece of shit. hole still looks like poop. Come down with it over here. I think I can make that clear and work. Damn, that hole's got to come down a lot further. Well, not really a lot, but it's just got to open up a little bit more on the, got to make it a little more round, but I'm going to have to weld to it, figures. Close the top in on it. But pretty good right there, level, and then it just drops down, so I'm happy with that. Clears the cooling fan. Still gonna have to bash it in right here. What I may do is cut what I need out of it, flip that part over, so it'll be a smooth transition, and see if that'll work. I don't know. It's aluminum, so then I gotta struggle to weld it, or find someone who knows what the hell they're doing when it comes to aluminum, and do that. Now I could, lift it up so we get higher. We'll put the radiator cover over it. I just want to see how that fits as it is. Obviously, I'm going to modify this, but it still fits. It doesn't even get in the way. I put my hand in there. So, point of that, I want to get. That doesn't look bad at all. I kind of like that. I come in here when I do my dive on the ends, and I kind of bring it up and cover something like that, and build an engine cover. You'll see the alternator and the AC pump. I really like that. I'm pretty happy with that so far. The other problem is when I get in here and start having to cut this, and I need to figure out a radiator hose now. I've got room on the inlet of the radiator itself come across. I may need to drop this down a little bit just to clear that, but I've got to. It's going to be really tight. The water neck to the pump is right here, so I'd almost have to come 90 perfectly right there, and then come across somehow. Oh, baby. Some of the newer cars, this little sensor pops out and you just stick it on the bone there, but this is the whole shebang there. So. Don't know how I'm going to make that work. Let's see. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting somewhere. That close to the throttle body, honestly. I'm wondering if I should put it down underneath the apron there. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Be susceptible to road debris, and you definitely have to make a cover for it. I don't know if these, can they get splashed? I mean, that's a weatherproof connector. Anything under the hood usually is. I wonder if I should build a sealed box under the fender apron that seals up to this side on the bottom. And put a gasket or a weather stripping on it or something like that. So obviously I won't be able to mount that right in there anywhere because I'm going to have to make that curve in. So I need to keep the diameter the same. I'll have to do a little coupler. I had a little sleeve that went over this, and I haven't misplaced it, so then that'll go over that, and that'll go on that. Okay, so so I'm going to cut the pipe. And then let's get it close. If I put it on the end of that mass airflow meter, it's going to probably hit the tire when I turn it. It's going to be extremely close. So I think I'm going to go ahead and move on forward to go ahead and modify this radiator cover. The only thing I've got to do is take this hole and oblong it and move it down. The rest I'm still going to have to custom fabricate a box, and I still got to notch this. So I'm going to wait to do that. I'm going to think about it a little bit more and try to evolve the project in my head before I start cutting more and modifying some stuff. I know where I want to head with this part here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut probably here and here. Cut that off, and that will allow this panel to sit down where I want it. Unfortunately, the bolts I think are underneath this part. Yeah, so I'm gonna lose the bolts, but I do have that alignment part there for the radiator cap. So yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and lop those off. So I'm going to keep this part here. I may end up just cutting. I drew that line for a reason, but it's kind of not really. I really want this panel. Just I want it to dive down and get into here and get rid of this part. So I may cut. Dooby-doo. I thought I had a kind of a plan, but I changed my mind just that. Alright, so I marked the sections out. I'm going to start with cutting this off first. I'm going to leave this just for now and see where it's hitting, and I'll start cutting away at it slowly but surely, both sides. So we'll get to it. Alright, let's see what kind of damage we did here. Let's see some wings. There. That's good. Relief that like I did here. So I'll snip that off real quick. Alright, that's what I'm looking for right there. I'm going to bend this up a little bit in the hammer, in the vise, using my hammer. a bit. See how that works. All right, so got the piece for the notch out there for the overflow drain. I need to bring this part up a little bit. It's riding right on top of the radiator. So just gonna hammer on that a little bit. Back corner right there. All right, so still right in there where the cap is. I'm trying to hammer it down a little more. It almost needs to be flat, so. Let's try it again. All right, that locked right in place. Good. I guess when I moved the radiator, it brought it forward, which brought it up. Or when I made those mounts, brought it up somehow or another, but that's still hitting. So it might as well cut it out and make it flat or slice it. Help it get back to this plane because it starts diving in. And I guess it's just a little too aggressive right on that corner. So I'll do a little more work to that. And then we'll start figuring out where I want this to dive down. Kind of may just follow these two corner lines here and bring it in like I did over here with this line, but I need to bring it out a little bit further. I was just kind of eyeballing that one, but then I've got this panel bolted down. That's exactly where I want it. Other than that spot right there, that's the only part touching the radiator, and I think that overflow tube is still rubbing. So draw that out of there. And we're getting that clearing. But that's looking good. I'm gonna I don't know if I want to dive aggressive. I think I'm gonna dive it out to there. You know, just kind of dive in and boom, hit that panel and be done with it. Not sure how I'm gonna attach it. If I even want to attach it, I should probably bolt it in right here. If I drop it straight down, how will that work? I'm just trying to think of how I can attach it to the car and not see the bolts and not see an ugly seam or a line or whatever. That's all. That's what's going through my head. You know, I was trying to think diving it in like that and blending it away. It would kind of mimic the raised portion around the hood hinges. So kind of tie some things together. So instead of just a hard line. It needs to kind of blend. All right, so after about an hour or so of fiddling around with this, made a couple of different versions, but I like this version the best. Panel just kind of drops off and tapers into this panel. So I think if I got two of those, obviously I'll make one on the other side the same way, but just kind of flows in and ends instead of coming over here and not really blending into anything. It was kind of weird. But I like this waterfall effect better. And what I'm going to do is put a flange on the back of this panel. So it'll be flat up against this. And I'll run a screw in from the bottom. I'll put a little riv nuts on the bottom side of that. So I'll weld this together. So I'll have bolts here and two there, and it'll pull it down nice and snug, and won't have any flex or give to it like that. I used a little piece of this round stock that I got right here. Get off. That's from an old yard sign where the people come and spray my yard for weeds and stuff, and it makes a great. It's not the best material. I don't know what it's made out of. It doesn't really like to weld really well. It will. It kind of gives a little spatter, but it could be just because I didn't have it clean enough. But it works really good, and it's free. And I get about 4 or 5 of them from my neighbors, so all the time. So I have an abundance of them. But I use that to get the little arch here. I overcut my paper just so I'd have enough material and metal and be able to form it, and then I'll trim it back, and that'll be a pretty strong panel, that curve in it. But that lets me keep this, so I'll weld the gap up here on both sides. Keeps my little spot from my hood open. That's my hood latch. Goes down in there, and a little setup. So I got rid of the centerpiece, but I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, kind of flows out right through there, and we'll just stop. So it'll look a lot better. We'll get some metal cut out, start beating and framing on it, and see if I can get a shape. And then I got to make two. So that's gonna be the difficult part. But we'll move right along. I'm liking that, and we'll get something made from by the end of the day here for that. Yeah, I need to got a little U shape there. I need to get that out of there. I'll trim this. Let's try to get that to settle down with that. considered I'm no metal ace, but just from watching other videos and when to shrink and when to stretch panels and fold that over. I folded that over by hand. It's got some bumps in it from my hammer blows, but the transitions are nice. I'm going to trim it a little bit here and get it to fall in. But it curves, it fits, it's damn near flush. Uh, Pretty happy with the results of that. I like that. You can look this way and you see how that panel just drops in and ends a little better, a lot better actually compared to what I had before. So yeah, I like that. I'm gonna do now. I got to make another one. So wish me luck. So I got the other side knocked out. It took a lot less time to get this one knocked out, and I also realized that these fenders aren't perfectly shaped the same. This one was a little shorter. I think my arch starts a little higher over here. Over there, it just kind of dives down a lot faster. But that is not changing because that's a lot of work. I'm not backing up that far, so I'll just have to live with that. That's a little bit different. um, I don't know that I could do anything to change it other than maybe I could take this one and push it over that way a little further. Start over here, maybe half an inch more, and get closer to the fender. To be honest, I don't really care. Um, yeah, so that's that. Working, still got to cut the hole for that a little bigger, but everything else is fitting nicely. This is going to bolt down. I'm going to weld these up tomorrow. I need to think about this box underneath the fender here for the cold air filter and all that. I may end up using the brackets that came with the kit after all. Who knows? I may make a little box out of those and try to seal it up somehow. But yeah, we're moving right along. It's a lot of progress for the day. I had a little list, and that's two of the items on my list that I wanted to get done. So I'm pretty happy with that. the the only other concern I'm going to look for a little tube here, the radiator inlet. Um, I don't know that I could get. I might could make. I was planning on making a hard pipe anyway, but I might could get a hard pipe in and maybe follow the air cleaner down underneath, and then snake back up through here, and boom, right into that. So down and up and around. That might work. That might work. I just thought about that. Or maybe I'll look and see if I can find a couple of radiator hoses, like rubber hoses that'll have the bends in them, and just do a splice and make my own radiator. I can make a bend out of some metal rod that I have over here, and see if I can come up with something. But the tube definitely needs to go down some because there's no way I can get it would hit before it even gets to the radiator inlet. So I don't want to rub a hole in it, but you also don't stuff crashing into each other. It's just not doesn't look good. So get that moved. So I'm really happy with that. A little cheap kit. It worked out pretty good. It's got all the rubber bands and stuff I needed. So happy with that. We made progress. So we'll continue on with it. All right, so I got my fill pieces in for the corners. I got them ready to weld. I'm not sure 100% how I want to do this strip here. I may add it after and just weld it to this edge, but I'll go ahead and weld them, and we'll go from there. slid this panel down and sucked it in. These changed a little bit. This one looks like it comes out further anyway. While I got the welder fired up, I'm going to go ahead and bring that console over here and fill in the top edges where I was talking about in the last video, just to keep rolling on the same, just to keep motivation with it. I marked it out. I marked it out here in last video. I'm just going to add material here. I kind of remember off the top of my head about where it was. So I'm going to add in the corner here on both sides, and then I'll reassemble everything and mark it out and shape it up that way. Just get that gap a little tighter. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick, like. I'm trying to block that wind behind me from catching the weld, but it's hot. Don't put your arm there. It's time to grind. We'll get this cleaned up and sanded, and we'll refit it, and let's see if all that work was worth it. So also in today's plan, I took the gravel guard that I made. I had to make a new one because the other one just the shape was wrong. The bumper was been modified and stuff. So I just started over with a flat piece of steel, and it was a lot easier. But I never added anything in it for strength. So you can't have a panel like that on the car. I left it unfinished because I wanted to get the radiator in place, and I did want to get the AC condenser in place. But I think I was looking at some online, and I'm pretty sure that'll be enough room. If not, I'm just going to tack this in place in a few spots. I'm not going to fully weld it, and that way, if I do have to modify it, it won't be 3 days worth of work to undo what I did. But it's just more of that round stock, and I'm going to weld it in place here. Now this won't be 100% get the flop out of it. This won't 100% get the flop out of the panel. I still plan on adding some bracing to it, and I may add, I should have been a lip on the front. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this on the bandsaw, get rid of that, and just tack this in place. And I'm curious to see how much it does sturdy it up, but I know it's not going to take any of the flop out of the front edge of that. But it'll be better than zero. So we'll get on the bandsaw and we'll get it cut. So I think really I'm on the home stretch of modifications under the hood. As far as cutting metal work and stuff like that. There's a little bit of grinding to do and some dressing up, but went ahead and welded around the hole here for the intake tube to go through and dress that up, and I'll come back over with a little filler and get that smoothed in so that'll match the contour I've got going on here around the hinges. The cover, the radiator cover that goes here, I'm still considering putting a flange here on the actual cover to run a bolt through there. That's a little minor little piece. I'm gonna wait and see how it fits because it bolts down pretty tight right here. I was just thinking I need a flange on it to maybe put a piece of felt to rub against so the painted surfaces don't rub each other and scuff the paint. Keep from squeaking and rattling too. But I may just trim the panel, tighten it up, and draw it out and tighten it up here, and get it and draw the line on it and just trim it until it stops touching. But I'd really rather have it tight. I think I would rather have it tight. I think that's the right way to do it. But not real sure. But we'll get there. I was going to wrap it up with this because I've got a lot of footage to go through and edit and make a video. Like I said, I got this guy cut out and welded in temporary. It's not completely welded because I'm not sure how that's going to change. I've got a transmission cooler that I wanted to mount behind this opening in the lower valance. So I've still got to make a mount for that. But I'm not sure if I want to permanently mount it yet, and I'd rather wait to see about getting the AC condenser just because I want to make sure I got the room. But I'm going to have a grill mesh in here that'll match the grill opening mesh. So that'll be tidied up, and I'll paint it black so you can't see it. But all in all, I think moving along, had a pretty good bit of progress this week. And I appreciate you guys sticking around. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do all those cool things. But I appreciate you watching Big Lake Hot Rods, and we'll see you next time.